2023 is right around the corner, and one of the biggest things that people always want to do every year at the beginning of the year is get back into reading. People always ask me, hey, I used to read a lot as a kid, used to read a lot in high school, then I dropped off once I started working, or I've been in a reading slump and I just can't figure out what to read again, or I want to start reading. What do I do? What do I read? Can you give me some recommendations, etc.? So I decided to make this video, just give you some easy steps on what to look for or how to approach getting out of a reading slump, starting reading, and trying to figure out what you do want to read. So what I have for you are the 3 S's. The 3 S's are you start small, you start cheap, and you stick to what you like. And there's a bonus S that I will give you at the end of the video, if you can make it that far. The first thing you want to do is start small. You want to look for books that are around 100 to 200 pages, short books or short stories. Do not pick up a 500-page book immediately. Do not look at a tome. These tomes here, don't look at them. What you do want to read are these small, short novels that you can pick up and finish very quickly, and then you can move on to the next one. What you don't want to do is go onto some place like TikTok or YouTube, except for this page, or Instagram, and see, oh my gosh, somebody's reading this really cool book. It's really popular right now. I want to try reading it, but it's 800 pages long. You're not picking up Priory of the Orange Tree, okay? I need you to pick up House of the Cerulean Sea. Show your work. A set of short stories, like the Grimm's Brothers fairy tales. This is like a collection of 30 or 50 short stories. You could pick up and read a couple of these a day and get your reading in. Start small, don't go too big, or you'll go home. The next S is starting cheap. You don't want to break the bank as you're trying to get into reading, and there are much more affordable ways to start reading. First things first, public libraries are free. Go pick up a library card and go get you a book. That is the easiest step. The next thing, you could go to discounted or thrift bookstores that are going to be much cheaper than stores like Barnes & Nobles. You could also try ebooks that are a lot of the times less expensive than physical copies. You don't have to start buying books to get into reading books. There's tons of free resources or cheap resources out there for you. The third S is stick to what you like. If you like nonfiction or fiction, if you like historical or sci-fi genres, think back to the books that you've already read in the past. Think back to books that you like to read and start with those. And there's no harm in rereading a book you've already read because you know you already enjoyed it. Read it again. Go through that adventure again and then move on to the next step. Once you have a couple of these books behind you that you've read, you've enjoyed, then you'll want to venture out into maybe some uncharted territory and think, you know what? I like it, I'm back into reading, I have time to read again. Let me pick up this new novel then that I haven't read. When I was in a reading slump this year, I started, in January I told myself, I'm gonna start reading again. Because after 3-4 years, I had barely read any books all year for those 3-4 years. And so my first book was actually Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. This thing is tiny. I finished half of this in a Sunday afternoon, the other half in the next Sunday afternoon. That was done. Super tiny book. The next thing I did was, I started with other small books. I stuck with what I liked and I started cheap. Cheap as in I already owned the book. So I started reading the Ranger's Apprentice series again because they're short books and I could get through them within like a week, if not less. So if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you. I really hope these steps are going to help you get back into reading, get into reading more if you're already into reading, or start reading if you haven't already started. So if you liked this, leave a like and comment because I'm about to give you the last S that I think is probably one of the most important ones in order to start reading more. So the bonus S is starting with singles. That is, in my opinion, one of the biggest things and one of the key things that people don't really focus on when they're trying to get back into reading. They want to read like the more popular books that are out there that are part of a series. They're not standalones. You want to find your standalone books that you can pick up and put down, but if you don't finish it, you can put it down and not have to think, oh, well, I already started this series and I feel like I have to see it through. Start with singles. Singles in like most productive, motivational, self-help books are singles anyway. They're not really part of a series, so those are easy. Short stories like this, all of them are singles. They're literally all singles. They're not connected. Easy. House of the Cerulean Sea, my 5-star book read of the year. It's a single. You start it and you end it in one book, and I kid you not, it was the best book that I read all year. And I've read a lot of these books this year. The BFG is a classic and it's also a single. So when you're looking forward to 2023 and you're thinking, I want to start reading again, but I don't know where to start, keep these steps in mind, keep these ideas in mind. Start small, start cheap, stick to what you like, and start with singles. And I promise you'll be a reading machine by the end of the year. If you want to read casually, that's fine here too. In the archives, we read casually, we read competitively, we read professionally. We don't actually read competitively. I don't even know there's competitive reading involved. So let me know down below what you're reading, what you want to read, what you started reading, what's on your TBR, and I'll let you know what's on my TBR later on. And have a good rest of your day. Looking forward to 2023, catching up with y'all.